Most older men think the problem is age. They believe younger women reject them because of years, numbers, or biology. They assume attraction fades with time and that nothing can be done about it except money, status, or luck. That belief is comforting, and it is completely wrong. Younger women do not reject older men because they are older. They reject them because many older men signal insecurity, stagnation, and emotional confusion without realizing it. And the fastest way they signal it is through style, not fashion. Style. Style is not about trends, brands, or trying to look young. In fact, trying to look young is one of the biggest mistakes older men make. Younger women do not want a man who looks like he is competing with their generation. They want a man who looks grounded in his own. Style is communication without words. It tells a woman whether a man has accepted his age with confidence or is secretly fighting it. It tells her whether he has direction, self-respect, and emotional clarity, or whether he is still trying to prove something to the world. And younger women are extremely sensitive to this. They do not analyze it logically, they feel it instantly. An older man who dresses, moves, and presents himself from a place of insecurity triggers resistance, not because he looks bad, but because he feels misaligned. There is a subtle tension when a man is trying to borrow youth instead of embodying maturity. This is why some older men effortlessly attract younger women without chasing, while others are dismissed before they even speak. The difference is not looks, it is coherence. Everything about him tells the same story. Younger women are drawn to men who look settled, not stuck. Men who look intentional, not desperate. Men whose style reflects self-knowledge rather than confusion about who they are supposed to be. Now, the 7 mistakes we are about to break down are not obvious. They are not about wearing the wrong shoes or the wrong jacket. They are about signaling the wrong identity. And once a woman senses that identity does not match your age, your energy, or your life experience, attraction shuts down immediately. Not dramatically, quietly. She may still be polite, she may still smile, but emotionally, she checks out. This video is not about impressing younger women. It is about removing the signals that make them instinctively lose interest. Because attraction does not require effort when alignment is present. It only requires that you stop fighting who you are and start embodying it properly. Older men who understand this do not try to look younger. They look sharper, calmer, more intentional. And that is what younger women respond to even when they cannot explain why. Before we start, a quick reminder. The real transformation doesn't happen on YouTube. It happens inside the community. If these videos have opened your eyes, what's inside will rebuild your mindset completely. It's not just a course, it's a brotherhood, a private space where men master attraction, emotional control, and the psychology of power. You don't join for a month, you join for life. Every future course, book, and lesson is yours forever. No subscriptions, no limits, just one decision that changes your direction. If you're serious about growth, discipline, and purpose, click the link below. Join the community, enroll once, grow forever. Let's dive in. Mistake number 1, trying too hard to look young instead of looking grounded. The first mistake older men make is also the most damaging because it reveals insecurity before a single word is spoken. Trying to look young instead of looking grounded sends a signal that something inside is unsettled. Younger women feel this immediately, even if they cannot consciously explain. This mistake shows up in many forms. Clothes that are clearly designed for men in their early 20s, loud graphics, overly trendy pieces that change every season, hairstyles that belong to a different generation. None of these are wrong on their own. They become wrong when they are worn by a man who is trying to erase his age instead of owning it. Younger women are not attracted to youth itself. They are attracted to clarity. A man who looks like he knows exactly who he is and where he stands in life feels safe, confident, and interesting. A man who looks like he is borrowing an identity feels unstable, even if his clothes are expensive. When an older man dresses too young, it creates emotional dissonance. His life experience says one thing, but his appearance says another. That mismatch creates subconscious discomfort. She may not label it as insecurity, but she feels that something is off. And when something feels off, attraction shuts down quietly. The irony is that the harder a man tries to look young, the older and less confident he appears. Because youth is not something you can replicate through clothing. It is a phase, not a style. Maturity, on the other hand, can be styled powerfully when it is embraced instead of resisted. Grounded style communicates acceptance. It says, you are comfortable with time, with growth, with responsibility, and with evolution. Younger women are drawn to this because it represents emotional stability. They are not looking for someone to match their age. They are looking for someone to balance it. This is why the most attractive older men wear simple, intentional pieces, clean lines, neutral colors, quality fabrics, nothing that screams for attention, everything that suggests calm confidence. Their style does not chase trends, it outlives them. Another common error is over-accessorizing in an attempt to appear modern. Too many rings, flashy watches, loud designer logos. These do not signal success or relevance. They signal a need to be noticed. And neediness, even when disguised as fashion, is deeply unattractive. Younger women respect men who do not compete with younger men. They respond to men who contrast them, men who look composed, self-assured, and at ease in their own chapter of life. That contrast creates polarity, and polarity creates attraction. The solution is not to dress old. It is to dress resolved. Clothes should support your presence, not explain it. When your style reflects acceptance rather than resistance, your energy changes. And when your energy changes, how women respond to you changes with it. Mistake number 2, dressing like status is the goal instead of substance. The second mistake older men make is more subtle, but just as damaging. Dressing to signal status instead of substance creates a disconnect that younger women feel immediately. This happens when a man uses clothing to announce success rather than express character. Status dressing is loud. It relies on obvious brands, exaggerated luxury, and visual proof of wealth. Expensive watches meant to be noticed. Logos that demand recognition. Outfits that seem designed to say, "I've made it." While status may impress from a distance, it rarely attracts emotionally, especially to younger women who are highly sensitive to authenticity. Younger women are not drawn to displays of success. They are drawn to embodiment of confidence. There is a difference between looking successful and looking secure. A man who needs his clothes to confirm his worth appears emotionally dependent on external validation, and emotional dependence, no matter how well dressed, is unattractive. This mistake often comes from good intentions. Many older men believe younger women value lifestyle, money, or access. And while those things may catch attention briefly, they do not create desire. Desire comes from depth, from calm authority, from a sense that the man is not trying to prove anything to anyone. When status becomes the focus of style, it replaces subtlety with performance. Younger women feel like they are being sold an image rather than meeting a person that creates distance rather than attraction. It feels transactional instead of natural. True substance dressing is quieter. It favors quality over visibility, fit over flash, consistency over trends. It communicates that your life is already in order and does not need explanation. That kind of confidence feels grounded, and grounded confidence is what younger women trust. Another issue with status-focused style is that it often locks a man into one dimension. He becomes the successful guy instead of a complex, self-aware individual. Younger women are drawn to emotional range, not financial headlines. They want to feel depth behind the presence, not just polish on the surface. Substance-driven style aligns with who you are rather than what you own. It feels effortless because it is not trying to impress. And effortlessness is attractive because it suggests mastery. When something looks easy, it implies experience. The strongest signal you can send is not wealth, but self-containment. When your style reflects that you are complete without needing recognition, younger women feel safe leaning in emotionally. They sense that you are not buying attraction. You are allowing it to happen. Mistake number 3, looking emotionally rigid instead of adaptable. The third mistake older men make has less to do with clothing itself and more to do with what their overall presentation communicates. Emotional rigidity shows up visually before it is ever felt in conversation. Younger women sense it immediately, and it quietly shuts down attraction. This mistake happens when a man's style looks frozen in time. The same haircut for decades, the same silhouettes, the same color combinations. Nothing wrong with consistency, but stagnation feels different from identity. When style does not evolve at all, it suggests that the man has stopped adapting, not just in fashion, but in life. Younger women are drawn to men who feel mentally flexible. They want maturity without stiffness, experience without bitterness, confidence without control. When a man looks rigid, overly formal, or locked into one version of himself, it creates emotional distance. It feels like there is no room for growth, playfulness, or emotional openness. Rigidity communicates resistance. Resistance to change, resistance to new perspectives, resistance to being challenged. And younger women instinctively avoid that energy because it feels heavy rather than grounded. This is why dressing overly conservative in every context can backfire. Perfectly pressed outfits in casual environments, excessive formality, when ease would feel more appropriate. These choices suggest that the man is clinging to rules rather than reading the room. And emotional intelligence begins with awareness, not control. Adaptable style does not mean trendy. It means responsive. It means knowing when to soften your look, when to relax structure, and when to allow ease into your presence. A man who can adjust without losing himself feels emotionally safe. He feels confident enough to bend without breaking. Younger women respond to this because it mirrors emotional adaptability. A man who can adapt his style signals that he can adapt in conversation, in conflict, and in connection. He feels less judgmental, less rigid, and more emotionally available without being needy. Rigid style often hides fear. Fear of losing authority, fear of looking foolish, fear of stepping outside a known identity. But authority that cannot adapt is fragile. True authority remains intact, even when relaxed. The goal is not to abandon structure. It is to balance it with fluidity, clean lines with comfort, intentional choices with ease. When your style reflects flexibility, your energy does too. And energy is what younger women respond to long before they analyze your words. Mistake number 4, looking closed off instead of calmly open. The fourth mistake older men make is one of the most misunderstood because it hides behind the idea of masculinity. Many men believe that looking distant, serious, or emotionally unreadable signals strength. In reality, when taken too far, it signals emotional closure rather than calm authority. And younger women feel that difference instantly. This mistake shows up in overly dark, heavy, or severe presentation, constantly rigid posture, closed body language, a face that rarely softens, style choices that communicate do not approach rather than quiet confidence. While mystery can be attractive, emotional unavailability is not. Younger women are drawn to men who feel safe to be around emotionally. Safe does not mean weak. It means regulated. It means calm openness rather than guarded defensiveness. When a man looks permanently closed off, it suggests unresolved emotional tension. And unresolved tension creates distance, not desire. Clothing contributes to this more than most men realize. Always dressing in heavy layers, dark tones without contrast, or overly severe silhouettes can make a man feel emotionally inaccessible. Combined with minimal expression or stiffness, it creates an impression of coldness rather than depth. Calm openness is different. It comes from relaxed posture, natural movement, and style that allows approachability without sacrificing authority. A well-fitted outfit that breathes, softer textures mixed with structure, neutral tones balanced with warmth. These subtle choices communicate that you are composed, not guarded. Younger women respond to men who look emotionally regulated rather than emotionally walled off. They want to feel that connection is possible, even if it is not guaranteed. When a man looks closed, they assume emotional effort will be high and emotional reward will be low. That assumption kills attraction quietly. Another issue with closed-off style is that it often feels performative. It looks like armor rather than presence. Armor suggests past battles that are still being fought. Presence suggests resolution. And resolution is attractive because it feels peaceful. Calm openness does not mean smiling constantly or appearing overly friendly. It means your energy invites rather than repels. It means your style supports connection rather than blocks it. You remain selective but not inaccessible. The strongest men are not closed. They are centered. And centered men do not need emotional barriers to protect themselves. Their boundaries are internal, not visual. Mistake number 5, overcompensating instead of being intentional. The fifth mistake older men make is overcompensation, and it is one of the fastest ways to lose attraction without realizing it. Overcompensation happens when a man uses style to cover insecurity rather than express identity. Younger women sense this immediately because it feels forced rather than natural. This mistake shows up when everything is exaggerated. Too sharp, too polished, too loud, too perfect. The outfit looks carefully constructed but not lived in. It feels like effort rather than ease. And when effort is visible, attraction fades because confidence never looks like it is trying. Overcompensation often comes from the belief that older men must bring more to compete. More luxury, more grooming, more boldness, more proof. But attraction is not a competition. It is alignment. And alignment cannot be forced through excess. When style feels like compensation, it signals insecurity. Beneath the surface, younger women may not label it as such, but they feel pressure in the presence. It feels like the man is trying to earn interest rather than allowing it to emerge. That emotional pressure makes them pull back instinctively. Intentional style is the opposite. It is selective rather than excessive. Every element has a reason, but nothing is shouting for attention. It communicates that the man knows exactly what suits him and does not need to exaggerate to be noticed. Another form of overcompensation is hyper-grooming. Perfect hair at all times, excessive fragrance, constant adjustments. These behaviors suggest self-consciousness rather than self-assurance. Younger women are drawn to men who are aware of themselves, not preoccupied with themselves. Intentional style feels relaxed even when it is refined. It allows imperfection, it allows movement, it allows comfort. And comfort communicates ownership. When you look comfortable in yourself, others feel comfortable around you. Overcompensation also collapses mystery. When everything is on display, nothing is left to discover. Younger women enjoy curiosity, not excess information. Style should suggest depth, not explain it. The shift here is subtle but powerful. Stop asking whether your style impresses. Start asking whether it reflects calm certainty. When your presentation feels natural rather than strategic, your energy aligns, and aligned energy is attractive without effort. Mistake number 6, ignoring fit and proportion because it doesn't matter anymore. The sixth mistake older men make is quietly destructive because it signals something deeper than poor style. Ignoring fit and proportion communicates resignation. It tells a younger woman that you have stopped refining yourself, not because you are confident, but because you believe effort is no longer necessary. Younger women are extremely sensitive to this signal. Fit has nothing to do with trends or youth. It has everything to do with self-respect. Clothing that hangs without intention, bunches awkwardly, or overwhelms the body suggests disengagement from self-awareness. And self-awareness is one of the most attractive traits a man can have at any age. This mistake often appears as clothing that is too loose, too baggy or too long, worn under the excuse of comfort. Comfort is important, but comfort without structure reads as neglect. Younger women do not expect perfection, but they do expect intention. When a man ignores how clothing sits on his body, it suggests he is no longer paying attention to how he shows up in the world. Poor fit also disrupts proportion. Oversized tops paired with shapeless bottoms, jackets that swallow the frame, pants that drag or bunch. These choices visually weaken presence. A man may have confidence internally, but if his proportions are off, his body language is diluted before he ever speaks. Younger women respond to men who look contained rather than scattered. Proper fit creates containment. It gives the impression of control without rigidity. It suggests that the man understands his body, accepts it, and works with it rather than hiding inside fabric. Another issue with ignoring fit is that it often reflects outdated self-perception. Men continue dressing for a body they had years ago or surrender entirely because adjusting feels inconvenient. Both extremes signal disconnection. Adaptation is attractive. Resistance is not. Fit does not mean tight. It means appropriate. Clothing should follow the body without clinging. Frame the shoulders without exaggeration and move naturally. When clothing moves with you, your presence feels cohesive. Cohesion is what younger women trust. This mistake is powerful because it contradicts everything attraction is built on. Attraction responds to men who are evolving, not declining. Men who are aware, not complacent. Men who refine rather than retreat. When a man respects fit and proportion, he signals something fundamental. He is still engaged with life. He still cares about alignment. He still pays attention. And attention directed inward always reflects outward. Mistake number 7, dressing without emotional awareness of the environment. The 7th and final mistake is the most overlooked because it has nothing to do with age, fashion, or even personal taste. It has everything to do with emotional awareness. Dressing without awareness of the environment signals social disconnection, and younger women feel that instantly. This mistake happens when a man dresses for himself alone without considering context. The same outfit everywhere, the same energy in every setting, the same presentation regardless of mood, location, or social dynamic. While confidence involves being yourself, emotional intelligence involves knowing how your presence lands. Younger women are deeply attuned to social calibration. They notice whether a man understands the emotional tone of a space. When his style feels out of sync with the environment, it creates subtle discomfort. Not because the outfit is wrong, but because the awareness feels missing. This could look like being overly formal in relaxed settings or overly casual in refined environments. It could look like dressing too aggressively in soft social spaces or too subdued where presence is required. In all cases, the message is the same. The man is not reading the room. And when a man does not read the room stylistically, younger women assume he may not read emotions well either. Attraction relies heavily on emotional attunement. A man who can adjust his presence without losing himself feels safe, intelligent, and socially grounded. A man who cannot adjust feels isolated even if he is confident. This mistake often comes from the belief that adapting equals compromising. In reality, adaptability is a sign of strength. It shows range. It shows awareness. It shows that the man understands that leadership is responsive, not rigid. Style that adapts to context does not mean changing who you are. It means expressing the same identity through different tones. Calm authority can look relaxed at a cafe and refined at an event. The core remains the same. Only the expression changes. Younger women respond strongly to this because it mirrors emotional maturity. They want a man who can move fluidly through different social worlds without becoming someone else. That fluidity signals experience and confidence without arrogance. When you dress with environmental awareness, your presence feels intentional rather than accidental. You feel like you belong without trying to belong. And belonging without effort is deeply attractive. This final mistake often overrides all others. A man can dress well, fit perfectly, and look grounded. But if he feels out of sync with his environment, attraction stalls. Alignment must exist internally and externally. Avoiding this mistake is simple but powerful. Pause before you step out. Ask yourself not how you want to look, but how you want to feel in that space. Calm, open, grounded, authoritative, relaxed. Then dress to support that emotional intention. When your style aligns with environment, age, and identity, younger women do not see an older man trying to attract them. They see a man who belongs wherever he stands. Most older men will hear this and assume younger women are shallow, judgmental, or obsessed with trends. That belief is comforting because it removes responsibility. But the truth is far more precise and far more empowering. Younger women are not reacting to age, they are reacting to alignment. Every one of these 7 style mistakes sends the same underlying message: confusion about identity, resistance to growth or insecurity disguised as effort. And younger women, more than most, are highly sensitive to these signals because they are still calibrating what emotional stability looks like in a man. When an older man looks like he is fighting time, chasing status, clinging to rigidity, or hiding behind excess, it creates emotional friction, not loud rejection, quiet disengagement. She may still be polite, she may still smile, but internally, attraction shuts down because the energy feels unresolved. What younger women are drawn to is not youth, fashion, or approval. They are drawn to men who look settled in themselves, men who have accepted where they are in life and refined it instead of resisting it, men whose style reflects clarity, self-respect, and emotional awareness rather than performance. This is why the most attractive older men do not try to impress. They do not try to compete. They do not try to explain themselves through clothing. Their style supports their presence instead of replacing it. And because of that, their presence feels calm, confident, and trustworthy. Style at this level is not decoration. It is emotional communication. When your style aligns with your age, your environment, and your inner posture, attraction becomes effortless. Younger women do not see an older man trying to be relevant. They see a man who belongs exactly where he is. And belonging is magnetic. The real shift happens when you stop asking how to look attractive and start asking how to look resolved. Resolution communicates maturity without stiffness, confidence without arrogance, and openness without neediness. That combination is rare, and rarity creates attraction. You do not need to change who you are. You need to stop signaling who you are not. When you remove these 7 mistakes, you stop repelling without realizing it. Your energy becomes coherent. Your presence becomes grounded. And younger women respond not because you are older or younger, but because you are aligned. That is the truth most men never hear. Attraction does not fade with age, it fades with resistance. And the moment you stop resisting who you are and start embodying it fully, style stops being a weakness and becomes quiet authority. Remember, knowledge means nothing without action. If you're ready to rise above emotion and lead with purpose, join the community today at the link below.